So I did catch the episode, the new series, the first episode of Super Lame. I'm just kidding, guys. I caught the series premiere of Supergirl. I watched it today. Excuse me. Listen. Okay, before I do this review, spoiler review, by the way, spoilers, just warning you. I give every pilot a chance. It doesn't. Pilot could be horrible, but I at least give a series at least 4 episodes. At least 4 episodes, and then if it doesn't get good from 1 to 4, then I just lose interest in it. But I always give a series a chance. I have expectations. My expectations for Supergirl were low. They're low. They're very low. So going into this episode, I already had low expectations. But you know what? It wasn't a train wreck. However, it still wasn't good. It reminded me a lot of Gotham and its problems. But I think this might... it's definitely a different... Gotham is more dark and more detective and crime solving, while this is more light-hearted, funny, and really just more special effects. That doesn't work. Special effects are not going to work on a superhero like this. I don't think superheroes should have the special effects. I don't know. I haven't seen Arrow. I haven't seen The Flash, but I always feel like it just doesn't work. I always get taken out of it because of the special effects in TV shows that deal with superheroes that have superpowers. That's why I think Daredevil really works on Netflix, is because he doesn't really have superpowers. He can't fly or anything like that. That's why I think Jessica Jones is going to be really good. That's why I think The Punisher is one of my favorites, because he doesn't have any superpowers, or even Batman. But then Gotham doesn't really work. But this season is actually better than last season so far. So Supergirl it's Kara Zor-El, aka Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl. Kara Danvers being her human alias, basically. And she's played by Melissa Bonest. Sorry if I butchered that last name wrong. So it opens up with just like how Kal-El, Clark, Superman, like how he pretty much left the planet, how his parents sent him on that pod. But same with Kara. However, Kara is about 13 years old. They tell her, follow Kal-El, follow your cousin, and protect him. Because at this point, Superman is a baby and Kara is 13 years old. So they send her off in the ship, and of course, Krypton blows up. You know, the whole story. But while it blows up, the shockwave really sends her into the Phantom Zone. And in the Phantom Zone, time ceased to exist. So somehow she gets out of the Phantom Zone. She lands on Earth. But Clark is already a man. And Kara is still 13 years old. So even though she's older, she looks younger. So it's a little bit at odds. And even though she was sent to protect him, he doesn't need any protecting. He's Superman. So Kara's working at this kind of like this called Catco or whatever. It's like a media type of place, like the Daily Planet. And I think that's Ally McBeal. I'm pretty sure that's Ally McBeal who is the head of it all. I'm gonna call her Ally McBeal, right? It's Ally McBeal. Her name is Kat. I believe it's Kat. And I think so, right? No, or maybe it's not. Maybe I can't remember. Well, one of the main I'm gonna call it Alan. I think it's Ally McBeal. All right, guys. If I'm wrong, I'm super sorry, but I'm pretty sure that's Ally McBeal, or maybe it's another actress that I've seen so many times. But she's skinny. And basically, Carl works at this media type place like Clark. It's not the Daily Planet. And she's not at Metropolis. She's somewhere else. What's interesting is that Jimmy Olsen is in here. And the reason they put Jimmy Olsen, I think, is because he is kind of a name and he is in the Superman lore, and they want to, attract some viewers. And they have. This show has the ratings are already very sky high for a fall show. It's one of the high, a lot of people viewed to see this series premiere. I don't know if they're going to continue to view it because I have problems with this show, or this episode at least. But we do meet some of the characters. We meet another guy, and I think his name's Winslow. Winslow has a crush on Kara. He works with her. He is one of the few people who she reveals her secret to after she goes and saves her half sister, Alex, from a plane crash. And I'm assuming you saw the episode, so I'm just going to go in and out, really, not recap the whole thing. Just tell you what I liked and what I disliked about it. Let's get into that right now. What I did like about this episode was the actress Melissa playing Kara, and I think sometimes she was a little bit too campy and a little too, goody two shoes. But I think she works. I think she has the look for Supergirl. She's very, by no means did I think she needed an online date. No way she needed an online date. Because when she's changing and she's like trying to perfect her costume, whoo, she's sexy as hell. She could save me any day. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But yes, I do like this actress. I do like her as Supergirl. I think Supergirl, the only problem I have was, did you see that scene where she's trying to like fly? And it's just some of those scenes are cringeworthy, and so the CGI is kind of really bad in this episode. So it's just really, when she starts using her powers, it's kind of, But if you didn't know, when she came into Earth, she brought a band of villains. I don't know, I forgot what their name was. There's another problem I have with the villains as well. But the villains come in, and I did like the fight sequences that Supergirl had to go through in this episode. I thought it was well done. It doesn't harken back to Man of Steel because of the special effects. I mean, like I said, special effects take me out of it if it's not done really properly. But, it still was good. It was a good 2 fights that she had. The villains, they're supposed to be an alien type race, but they look human. That's the problem I have with it. I mean, the villains, I think, are going to be the weakest aspect of this series because I really don't know too much about Supergirl, and I don't think she really has a villain rogue that's going to lift up the series, especially the end where we find out that her aunt is going to take over the Earth or whatever, and she still looks human. She should look human, but the villains that we got introduced in here shouldn't look human. It would be nice to see some alien-like creatures, I know they showcased some in the background when we find out that Alex is working for this operation or this Department of Extra Normal Operations, and they had pictures in the background of kind of different alien-like race that maybe, since they're in Earth, try to camouflage themselves like Men in Black. But even the face-off makeup is better than that. I felt like if you're gonna have villains and you're gonna have alien like race, why don't you go with the makeup? Why don't you make them really, really cool and make it stand out definitely from the rest of the other shows, especially superhero shows, and have some kick-ass makeup for villains and some kick-ass villains. But I feel like this episode, it's only the first episode, but the villains are they don't appeal to me, honestly. So yes, the costume itself, it looks, it's better than the Halloween costume, I'll say that. But it's definitely not Man of Steel kind of material. But it fits. It fits her. I think she looks great in it. I think she definitely has the build for it. So she looks good, and she looks sexy as hell. Anyway, I didn't really I knew they were going to reference Superman over and over again, but it's just still they reference Superman over and over and over again. It's like, all right, we get it. He's Superman. He's a beast. And he's the one that got Kara, pretty much foster parents and stuff, and the Danvers or whatever. So it was all because of Superman. This episode, the problem also, the CGI, the alien-like creatures, the way they look, and boy, did this episode feel rushed. I felt so rushed in this episode. So much exposition, so much narration. I mean, it would have been nice without the narration, but it's a CBS show. That's what you're gonna get. but I felt so rushed. I felt like this thing was just, it would go from one scene into the next. Like, it was like quick. Like, it just kept moving, but it didn't flow quite right. It just felt like, okay, we got introduced to something and that's it. Let's go. We gotta go. We gotta hurry this up. So I did feel like this episode was really, really rushed, and that's not what you want. But I think maybe the future episodes are not going to be as rushed as that, because they're definitely going to slow it down for maybe a little bit story arcs that are going to go on, little storylines that are going to go on. So the characters, the cast of characters, I can't really judge them too much because this is only the first episode. I mean, Alex seems like she's a pretty nice, decent character. Jimmy Olsen, we'll see how much he plays into this in the Supergirl and how much he factors in. The guy, Winslow, he seems okay. He seems like a good comedic kind of character. Some of the jokes didn't work, but what can you do? Tough crowd. Anyway, the music was another problem. Just like Gotham, the music just doesn't work for me. I love my score, and I think the score just doesn't work for the overall. I know they're trying to go whimsical, not whimsical, but definitely lighthearted and adventurous, and it just doesn't work. I just don't like the score, honestly. I just don't like it, and I think they could have done a better job on that, honestly. That's about it. That is about it, honestly, I could talk about. Like, that's what my overall reaction is to this new series. Now, just because I didn't like it and because I feel like this was a bad episode, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be a bad series. Like I say, I give it at least 4 episodes in. I mean, you could start off really crappy, but then you can really just finish off really strong. Or overall, the first episode doesn't really work, but all these other episodes, it just takes off. So we'll see how Supergirl does. A lot of people are watching it. I don't know if they're going to continue watching it, because after what I saw last night, it's okay. It's okay, but I don't see this really lasting long if they continue to do some of the things that I kind of dislike. But what do I know? I'm not in the film business. But I'm looking forward to the next episode to see if maybe we get a little bit more something. That's something. That's something that we all look for in all television shows, and they fix a little bit of their problems. But it's not too bad. It's not a train wreck like I thought it would be. But it's not good. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So thank you guys for listening. If you like my review, please hit that subscribe button. Would really appreciate it. It would bring a smile to my face. Like the video if you like it, and comment below. Love to hear your guys' thoughts if you've seen Supergirl. What did you think of that pilot episode, that first episode? And if you liked it, that's fine. I mean, if you really enjoyed it, I know people enjoy stuff. Everybody has different opinions. That's why I love to hear you comment and tell me what you liked about it or what you didn't like about it. So, I'm Dynamic and Son. You have a super day. Yeah, I went there.